There are places where history does not end, it simply settles. Beneath the surface of Lake Maggiore, where light fractures into cold geometry, rests an object never designed for permanence. It has no movement now, no voice, no intention, and yet it endures. This is not a shipwreck, not a relic of war, not a monument deliberately entombed. It is a racing automobile, built for speed, condemned by paperwork, preserved by water. For 73 years it remained unseen, not hidden, not guarded, simply forgotten, until it was found. To understand the weight of this discovery, one must forget what Bugatti means today. Forget hypercars, forget exclusivity, forget the modern language of luxury. In the early 20th century, Bugatti was not an emblem of wealth, it was an engineering philosophy. Ettore Bugatti did not believe in excess, he believed in control. His cars were compact, precise, and deliberately restrained. They were designed not to dominate by power, but by balance. At a time when racing machines grew heavier and more aggressive, Bugatti moved in the opposite direction. Less mass, cleaner design, mechanical clarity. Victory, Ettore believed, came from intelligence. This belief would give rise to one of the most influential racing cars of its era. The Bugatti Type 22 emerged from competition, not luxury. It was a refinement of earlier designs shaped by the realities of racing rather than aesthetics. Its proportions were narrow, its stance upright, its engineering almost austere. The engine displaced just over 1.4 liters. By modern standards, modest. By contemporary standards, daring. What it lacked in raw power, it compensated with responsiveness and balance. The Type 22 rewarded precision, it punished excess. In 1921, Bugatti cars dominated the Brescia Grand Prix, securing the top 4 positions. From that moment, the Type 22 earned its name, Brescia, a quiet acknowledgement of performance without ornament. This was not a car meant to be admired at rest, it was meant to move. Automobiles of this era were not designed for posterity. They were consumable tools, built, raced, modified, discarded. Chassis were reused, engines rebuilt, bodies replaced. The concept of historical preservation did not yet exist. Once a car ceased to be competitive, its value collapsed. The Bugatti Type 22, now resting beneath Lake Maggiore, was no exception. By the early 1930s, it was no longer at the cutting edge. New regulations, new technologies, and new philosophies had overtaken it. It was still functional, still capable, but in a world accelerating forward, capability was no longer enough. The story does not turn on speed, it turns on administration. In the mid-1930s, the Bugatti attempted to cross Switzerland. The reasons are mundane, the consequences were not. Import duties were assessed, documentation was required, payment was demanded. It did not arrive. The owner could not or would not pay the tax. The car was detained, not seized in anger, not condemned by law, simply held. Days became weeks, weeks became months. The Bugatti sat motionless, neither illegal nor permitted. Its value eroded quietly in a ledger. To the authorities, the Bugatti was not history. It was not art. It was not heritage. It was an obsolete vehicle. Outdated, unsellable, unwanted. Storage carried cost. Resolution was required. And so a decision was made that would echo for decades. The car would be disposed of. No dismantling, no auction, no preservation, simply removal. Lake Maggiore is vast but calm. Its stillness conceals depth. On a day without ceremony, the Bugatti was transported to the shoreline. There was no crowd, no documentation, no photographs. The car was rolled forward, metal met water. It did not fall, it entered. As air escaped, the car tilted gently, then vanished into the blue. The lake closed above it. The ledger was cleared. The matter was finished. Time behaves differently underwater. Oxygen thins, decay slows, silence thickens. The Bugatti's leather dissolved, the wood frame softened and failed, but steel endured. The chassis remained, The axles held their shape. The engine block resisted collapse. Fish nested within the voids. Sediment layered across the body. The car became environment. Above, the 20th century passed. Bugatti disappeared, returned and transformed. The automobile became mass-produced, then digital. Speed increased, complexity multiplied. Below, nothing changed. The rediscovery did not begin as history, it began as curiosity. A diver exploring the lake floor noticed an anomaly, a symmetry foreign to geology, metal. Further inspection revealed form, then structure, a car. Images surfaced, grainy, still. The distinctive horseshoe grille emerged from algae and shadow. Bugatti. The reaction was restrained, then electric. Not because of condition, but because of context. A Bugatti, abandoned deliberately, preserved unintentionally. The question arrived immediately. Should the car be recovered? Raising it risked destruction, leaving it risked loss. Conservation experts debated, historians weighed in. This was not a restoration candidate, too fragile, too altered, and yet it was invaluable. Not as a functioning machine, but as evidence. Evidence of how societies treat objects once usefulness expires. In a rare decision, the Bugatti was offered at auction, not as a vehicle, not as a project, as an artifact. The buyer would not restore it, would not drive it, would not profit from revival. Ownership meant responsibility. The proceeds were directed to charity. The transaction reframed value. The Bugatti was no longer property, it was custody. Conservation replaced restoration. Corrosion was stabilized, not erased. Structure was supported, not corrected. The car remains exactly as it emerged, incomplete, damaged, irreversible, and therefore honest. Nothing is hidden, nothing repaired to comfort the eye. It stands as it lived its second life, in silence. This Bugatti does not represent performance, it represents consequence. It shows how innovation can be discarded by bureaucracy, how value is contextual, how history survives by accident as often as intention. It challenges the modern obsession with perfection. Sometimes preservation means restraint. Sometimes the most respectful act is to stop. There are faster Bugattis, more expensive ones, more complete ones, but none are as truthful. This car does not move, it does not speak, and yet it tells a complete story of engineering, of administration, of time. Beneath a lake, history waited, and when it surfaced, it asked for nothing.